Now, Dr. Giggles is a 1992 movie that tells the story of Evan Rendell Jr., a madman who believes that he's a doctor who comes to the town where his murderous father was killed and soon begins murdering people himself after becoming infatuated with a teen girl who has a heart condition.
Have a heart!
Now, in the end, Dr. Giggles is one of my favorite movies because it was a happy accident. Yes, the movie is intentionally funny, and it was meant to be. However, the late, great Larry Drake played the character in a serious manner. He sort of does this thing that Leslie Nielsen does in The Naked Gun, but Nielsen's serious approach was always taken to be comedy. Drake's approach, while comical, had a taste of unintentional darkness to it, making Dr. Giggles legitimately a frightening character.
Lucky for you, I've discovered the only known cure for the common cold.
Leave it in for at least a minute.
Now, Compliance tells the story of a prank caller posing as a police officer who uses techniques of gaslighting to force the restaurant's manager to sexually and civilly violate her employee. This movie, though controversial, is also a learning tool. This movie power comes in the form of the actors. Because if the actors had acted like they enjoyed what they did, or if they acted nonchalantly in this movie, you would have had a much different movie. But what we have is a movie that made us feel every emotion and every struggle each character faced. Now, whether they ultimately gave into the brainwashing, you can see the weight in which this movie was delivered. This movie was heavy, and it translated its message because the actors left it all out on the table. They did the dirty work so we could sit back and analyze and ultimately learn a very valuable lesson. Now, Her Name Was Christa is a 2020 movie that tells the story of Stephen Booth, a lonely middle-aged telemarketer who is convinced by his coworker Nick to hire a prostitute for the girlfriend experience. But something happens, something big. As this movie progresses, the nature of their relationship exposes a dark side to loneliness, tragedy, and grief. In the end, Her Name Was Christa is more than a simple and tragic love story gone wrong. We learn about the effects loneliness can have on a person and how far they are willing to achieve happiness. So Stephen serves as the best of us and also the worst of us. We see a normal man desecrate a corpse for months because in his mind, Christa never died and was still alive. And this movie is a twisted love story. Why twisted? Because they hold nothing back. We see every sexual act a person can do to a corpse. And unfortunately, even at extreme stages of decay. Now, House of Darkness is a 2022 horror comedy that tells the story of a guy who meets a gorgeous girl at a bar and comes home with her. Now, what does he think he's going to get? And what he actually gets are not the same.
Open the door now!
Now, in the end, 2022's House of Darkness is a movie that takes you on a journey. It uses sexual fantasy and human vulnerability and marries the two with a bloody good ending. Now, in a way, this movie sort of seduces you. I mean, it uses Hapgood as your guide through a twisted tale of peril, and I've seen this movie like 4 or 5 times and enjoyed it each time. And I highly recommend this movie, but I would say, because of the playful banter and flirting, it's a slow burn. I mean, there are no dull moments, but there is a slow-moving process that get us from the sexual fantasy to the horror. But yeah, House of Darkness, go and watch it. Now, Satan's Little Helper is a 2004 movie that tells the story of Douglas Woolley, a naive young boy who befriends a man in a devil costume. Thinking he's merely participating in Halloween hijinks, Douglas unwittingly becomes accomplice to multiple murders.
Why doesn't he say something?
Now, in the end, Satan's Little Helper is an experience. It's one of the finer pieces of trash, and I love it because Blockbuster put me onto this movie, and it's one of the movies that I continue to come back to each year. And be ready for a ride from the beginning to the end. And until next time, when CEDtalks horror.